This is not Bob Staunton, genius broadcaster and throat-clearing phlegm spitter. Are you intelligent? If not, then subscribe and like the Tommy Boyds Shrine YouTube channel. This hour talks about single people. A surprise call is made by Boyd's brother. I prefer being single myself. The wife thinks I'm mad, but she doesn't judge her other husbands like she does me.
Ground control's a major tom.
Need for new homes for all the single people in Britain. 5 million new... Did I read that right? 5 million new homes have to be built for all the people in Britain who are not going to get married, not going to have boyfriends and girlfriends, not going to have children, not going to have partners, not going to talk to anybody as soon as they get home from work, apart from the cat or the goldfish or the parrot or the alligator or the wall or the curtains or the radio or the television. We need to talk about these people. We need to make up our minds what we think about these people who are choosing to live what is a very unnatural life. It's a fact. Let's bite the bullet. Free call 0500 1053 89. Are they sad or are they sick? I mean, nobody's single through choice, surely. In which case, they deserve our sympathy. Nobody, surely chooses to spend the whole of their life alone, without anybody to talk to about what's on the television, without anybody to cook for, without anybody to just share the milk of human kindness with. Nobody chooses, do they, a life like that? And if that's the case, what can we do to help the increasing number of people? And we're not talking about a hatful here. We're talking about a city full of 5 million people are going to be living single lives, who previously had tried a relationship, they didn't like it, didn't work for them, so they're out of there. And what are they out of? They're out of the greatest thing that life has to offer. It's true, isn't it? Doesn't matter how great your work, how huge your fortune, if you haven't got somebody to come home to at the end of the day and share your triumphs and your disasters with, it's an empty life. It's less than that. It's not a life. Is it the case that everybody who is single simply can't hold down a relationship? And if that's so, what can we do to help them talk to other people? Help them make friends. Help them start a conversation that ends in a lifelong relationship, because that's what everybody wants, isn't it? You won't find a scientist. You won't find a religious person. A person of God, a person of microscopes. Both of them will tell you that we are supposed to spend our lives together with a partner. The entire animal kingdom pretty much does it, doesn't it? 99.9% of the mammal world. And something like 98% of the entire animal kingdom. Obviously, amoebas and certain animals don't have lifelong partners. But it is the most natural thing on earth to choose a partner, to share your life with, to share the all-important, crucial business, the one thing we're here on this planet for certain to do, and that is to procreate, to carry on the line, to make sure that there are more young ones like us following in our footsteps, making the world a better place. Remember, the fruit of the bramble will always be bramble, the fruit of the willow. 5 million people who choose to be single, in need of special homes, so that we can support them? And who is going to support them? Because if all the single people in this country have no children, then who is going to look after them when they are old? And who is going to be earning the money to pay into the pension schemes which those single people, when they are old, will expect to be able to draw? It is your duty to have children, the right number. Not 8, but not none. Free call 0500 1053 89. Can you name me a successful single person? Bill Gates, the richest man on earth? Married. Bill Clinton, the most powerful man on earth? Married. Richard Branson, the richest man of it? Married. Tony Blair, the richest, married. Free call 0500 1053 89. Single people. There's going to be another 5 million of them, and they want their homes built, and they want them built now, because... Let's cut to the chase on this one. For some reason, they're sick of the sight of the rest of us. They don't enjoy seeing happy, healthy, functional family units. It reminds them that it is something that they cannot or will not themselves do. We're turning into a nation divided. Two societies. Happy families and sad and lonely singles. If you're not around people, your social skills wilt. Okay, you've got people around you perhaps at work. But there's another type of social skill which is so crucial. It's the lubricant, without which the motor that is this country, the engine which is civilization, will grind to a halt. If you don't know how to have a meaningless chat with somebody, right? If you can't just pass the time of day wittering with somebody that you like enough to want to wake up with the next day, not necessarily in the same bed as, but it helps, then that is one form of dysfunction. A tragic form of dysfunction, and one which, as this hour develops, we will see whether we can find some suggested remedies so that people who simply can't get it together with anybody else can at least carry around with themselves a little set of crib cards so that they'll know what to do when it comes to talking to somebody and what to do when it comes to being nice to somebody. A stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet. There's nothing to be frightened of. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
Boyd, free call 05.
Here, you're on Talk Radio. Peter, good afternoon.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Peter.
Yeah. You seem to be launching an attack on single people, but we've all tried not to be single in the past. At the age of 72, I've had a very happy life up to now. I have had numerous friends. I've had one. I nearly got close to getting married some years ago. Apart from that, I lived alone with my mother who died over 20 years ago. The fact that I'm single now doesn't mean that I'm a flawed person. You seem to be ready to have us put down, I think, because we're not fulfilling your standard of producing a family and so forth.
Well, I hadn't thought of that, I must admit, Peter, putting you down. I hadn't thought about putting you down, but I do think that you need some tips. Because obviously something's not working out, is it?
I've got a good home. I've got an adequate income. All the equipment.
But there's more to life than that. There's more to life than being able to buy consumer durables. Sir.
Yeah, but
people we need in our lives.
I know that because I've experienced it. But the thing is, it doesn't mean to say that because somebody is not compliant to your standard of a life that there's anything wrong with them. There's room in the world for all of us.
No, but there's too many of you. This is the problem.
That's what you're saying.
It's a fact.
I think perhaps you've got a euthanasia plan for us or something.
Don't push me. In 30 years' time, there'll be no children. There'll be no young people.
Well, I can't help that.
You should have done your bit.
As good a life as I can. I've contributed what I can to society, but I don't see it makes me.
But it's not too late to have children
because I've produced no family.
It's not too late, Peter. It's never too late.
Well, I must say I don't like your attacking attitude. You do seem to have it in for us.
Well, I suppose I do. It's as simple as that, isn't it? I don't see why my sons, because I've done my bit, I've got two. Just the right number, thank you. Not none, not one, not three, not four. Two, that's the right number. That's what I've done. I don't see why my sons, okay, once they're into the sort of middle executive bracket in their middle 30s, early 40s, I don't see why they're going to have to pay for everybody else who hasn't bothered, who wasn't up to it. Ron calls from South Wales. You're on Talk Radio. Ron, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sir.
Sir?
Sir.
I just wondered where you're coming from with this. You mentioned the animal kingdom, etc., yes?
Yes.
Well, as far as I know, and I feel myself that I'm pretty well up on the animal kingdom, is that animals partner up purely to reproduce, and then they walk away from each other, leaving the other partner to cope. I mean, is this what we want for the human race?
It's not like that at all, and you've got your facts completely wrong, and you clearly don't know very much about the animal kingdom at all. Most animals are monogamous.
Well, not from what I've seen.
Well, 98% is quite a few, isn't it, really? 98% of animals are monogamous.
But they actually
Birds,
get together
insects.
purely for the sake of reproduction.
Correct.
We have the added advantage, we can think. We can create a world, they can't.
But you can't fly in the face of 2,000 million years of evolution, Ron. You can't suddenly decide that it's not a terribly good idea any more than you can decide not to breathe, or any more than you can discourage your hair from growing if you've got any left.
Good point. But
thank you.
Over the last are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, over the last 2,000 million years, as you said.
Yes.
We haven't had the problems of starvation. We haven't had the problems of overpopulation.
Oh, don't run away with any idea that the single people of this world are trying to make sure there's enough food to go round. Get out of here. Get on your bike.
If they all start reproducing, as you said, it's going to get worse.
You need two. We must have two children. Look, if we don't have any more children, Ron, there won't be any of us in 100 years' time.
If we don't have any more, yes. But nobody's mentioned absolutely stopping. You're saying those single people that are capable that don't.
Yeah, they don't. And they should do. You know about the pensions time bomb?
Yes.
But who's going to pay for? Who's going to pay? Who's going to pay? Who's going to pay? No, it isn't. It's a simple matter. It's a simple fact of matter.
It needs changing.
The system doesn't work. You mean you don't understand it? That's what doesn't work. You don't understand it, Ron. When you are 80, my sons are going to be in work, and they are going to be paying for you. Okay? That's how it works.
Well, I've got sons as well. They would do the same thing, but...
Fine. But what about all those people who haven't bothered?
It's a wrong system. If that's got to rely on future generations to pay for this generation...
Well, what would you do about it
The system's wrong.
Oh, what would you do about it then, Ron, mate?
Well, I don't pretend to be a politician.
No, but you know something that's wrong when it's inconvenient to your argument.
If it doesn't work, it's obviously wrong. If you put a part on a car and it won't run, it's obviously the wrong part.
No, it's not like that, Ron. You obviously know more about cars than politics.
Well, as I said, I'm not a politician.
No, you certainly aren't, are you?
If a system doesn't work, then there's something wrong with it. It needs revising.
I haven't got the time of day to explain the pensions system that we have in this country.
No, because
you're not very bright. What age are you?
Sorry?
What age are you?
I'm 47.
Well, it's not too late for you to find a bit out about your pensions system. Go and ask your MP. Who's your MP?
I don't know. I've only just moved here.
Oh, dear me. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Andy calls from Kirkcaldy. Andy, you're on Talk Radio. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tommy. I was just thinking about it, and I mean, quite honestly, who would want to kind of bring a kid into this world? You know, I mean, with all the kind of violence and drugs and everything else, you know, and there's no work for them anyway. I mean, so I don't think I would want to. I mean, if I was a baby and I was in the womb, I would rather stay there. So I wouldn't want to come out.
This is cowardly talk, Andy. cowardly talk. And
then there's another point.
I've got a yellow streak down your spine a mile wide, haven't you, eh? Of course life's hard work, and there's work to be done. No. And for each and every one of us, the job is to make the world a little bit better for our having been here. The fact that you can spot some things that need to be put right means that you have your work cut out. You know what they are, and I'm sure you're doing everything you can to eradicate or at least reduce the problems that you've already identified. Yeah. That's what life's all about, isn't it? Yeah.
There's another point as well. I mean, what about... They say there's 1 in 10 homosexuals. 1 in 10 men are homosexual. You can't expect them to have kids.
Well, no, but homosexuality is effectively less dysfunctional than being single, isn't it? At least they've got partners.
Oh, yeah, that's true enough.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can understand that, yeah.
Okay.
I think everybody, I suppose, needs somebody in life.
Of course they do. Of course they do. Thank you for your call. Free call 0500 10 53 89. What can we do to help single people live normal lives? Should we set up support groups for people who are living by themselves? Showing them, teaching them, coaching them how to get on with people, how not to turn into somebody who mutters to themselves in the street, because you see a lot more of that going on than you used to. And maybe supermarkets are to blame. I don't want to have a run-in with the food industry. Oprah's got enough problems over there. We don't want anybody incurring that over here, but I do wonder whether they shouldn't be encouraged to go back to selling larger portions of everything. Over the last few years, you may have noticed an increase in the number of individual-sized snacks and things on the shelves. And that, can't be the way forward, can it? Free call 0500 10 53 89. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
Nation's interactive station. Free call 0500 10 53 89.
5 million new homes are going to be built. Homes for single people. To house 5 million people in the not-too-distant future who can't get on with anybody else. They need our help. What can we do to help them? Are they sad? Or is there something wrong with them? Christine calls from Somerset. You're on Talk Radio, Christine.
Oh, Tommy, historically speaking, families are actually determined by the economic and social conditions of the day. You should know this. And I don't think in this day and age, particularly for women, they actually need to rely on men, or they need children for their old age. So I think, the sort of being an individual without a husband or children is actually conditioned by today's economic and social conditions.
No, we all need people who need people.
Well, I like my dog.
Are the luckiest people in the world. Not people who need a budgerigar.
Well, I've got my dog.
Exactly.
What's wrong with my dog?
Your dog can't talk.
Well, yeah, he does.
No, he doesn't.
Well, of course he does.
No, he doesn't. You see, you've been single for too long. You think your dog knows every word you say. He doesn't.
Well, I haven't been single, actually. I'm just having a respite from my partner, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
Well, that's all very well having a breather. We all nip away for the odd weekend, no questions asked.
Yes, but...
No problem with that.
Yes, but I think historically, let's go back, shall we? I think years and years ago, when you had a rural community, you had all this extended family because it was dependent on the economy. Then you had industrialisation, which in turn...
Petal. Yes,
Come on.
No, we all did O-level social history, didn't we? Bagott, Trevelyan, all the rest of them. But, Christine, can you find anywhere in history where they, people were encouraged to be singles?
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Anywhere? Ever?
Yes, but I'm encouraging it now.
It's unnatural.
Well, I think you're unnatural because you're actually not changing with the times. You should actually leave your wife and children and be independent now.
I've thought of it plenty of times, Christine, but I am too valiant.
Oh, right.
I'm too unselfish.
Well, you said, who is it that actually is single and actually successful? And I think my daughter is. She's 30, she's single, and she's very successful.
Well, she's not President of the United States, is she? I mean, has there ever been a single President of the United States?
Well, there will be.
There won't be.
Well, we had a single Prime Minister.
Only one? And he had a number of friends? Ted Heath?
Well, you're saying that successful people are married, but most of them had affairs.
Nearly all... Yes, well, that's even better than being married, isn't it? Because that shows that you've got even greater social skills than a happily married person.
No, I think you've turned it on its head. I think as a historian, I think you actually should adapt to what's changing and not actually, go back into the past. I think you ought to progress a bit, I think.
Anyway, go and finish your conversation with the dog, because I've got to move on. Brenda calls from Essex. You're on Talk Radio. Brenda, good afternoon.
Hello, Tommy.
Brenda.
Well, I think you've got a great job there. I mean, you could help us all out, couldn't you? If you're so clever, why don't you find partners for us singles? And then you'll be, helping the state.
Okay.
And you'll be, feeling good about yourself.
Sure. I'm quite happy to help you find somebody, Brenda. How long has it been since you talked to a man?
Since before Christmas.
Before Christmas, so you haven't spoken to a man since before Christmas?
When you say spoken, do you mean in the biblical sense?
I don't mean, could I have a packet of polos in the newsagent?
Okay.
I mean, when was the last time you actually struck up a flirtatious conversation with a man?
Well, most days I do, because I work in a public domain. I'm a sales assistant, I'm a checkout person, so I see a lot of single men. I can work out whether they're single by what's coming through the belt, so I do that much, but I haven't actually had a date.
Right. Okay, so you're pretty much out of practice. Why do you think nobody likes you?
That's not a very nice thing to say. You caught me unawares there. I don't think it is that.
But let's start from that end of the thing, shall we? Why is it, do you think, that so many men have given you the elbow?
Because I'm not sending out messages. I'm at the moment, I'm not putting on mascara, and I'm not dyeing my hair, and the greys come through, so I'm sort of closing up a bit, so that could be a reason. But I tell you something, I work a damn sight more harder than married women, because I have to. Not only do I have to financially, but I find that if I work, it takes my mind off.
You've really lost it, haven't you? You've lost the plot of romance completely. If you think for one moment that men look at a woman and go, cool, I bet she works hard, forget it. Forget it. Also, men do not leave women because a few grey hairs show or they forget the mascara. They might start out with a woman because she looks her best, but they leave women for other reasons, don't they?
Well, I was left, I know jolly well why I was left, because I couldn't be at his beck and call all the time because I had to work.
But, you can create the impression that, my wife thinks that I'm at her beck and call.
But you probably are, because you sound very subservient.
I can do subservient. I can do subservient if I need to. Oh, yeah.
You seem very good at being the sort of, tough guy on radio. So I always think people like you go home and get whacked, so that you come in and give us a beating, but metaphorically speaking, of course.
Look, kinky love can be a plus.
But what about
that's what you're talking about, then I would recommend it to you. Try it.
What about my taxes?
Your taxes?
All the taxes that I'm paying.
Mm-hmm.
See, I lived in the 60s. Well, I've been around since the 60s. I read the other day, most of my money went to funding all the nuclear weapons and that sort of thing. So I've really done my bit for, the next generation by making them safe, haven't I?
Thank you. Thank you, Brenda, for your call. You've jumped ahead of me a little bit. I was going to deal with the threat posed to national security by the increasing number of single people in the next part of the programme. But thank you at least for sowing the seed. Paul calls from Middlesbrough. You're on Talk Radio, Paul.
Hello.
Hello, Paul.
Who do you think is the most powerful man in the world?
Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton.
I think so, don't you?
Well, who is the most successful?
I like quizzes. At what?
At life.
At life? Me?
At life, yeah.
Me.
You?
Me.
That's well, I can't argue with that.
We should all think that we are the most successful people at life.
That's right, yeah.
Yes. Except for singles.
So why?
Why?
Do you think that single people don't think that they're the most successful?
Well, because they haven't got any friends.
No, but that's not the point. You were saying that they're not successful. Do you think that single people think that they're not successful?
Oh, yes. That's half of the trouble. You pick up any woman's magazine and you'll find it's full of articles about how to get a partner.
It's not your... It's your point of view is your own point of view, which is a personal thing.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
If they're happy being single, if they're happy being successful...
They're not.
How do you know?
Because you never get any magazine articles telling people what fun it is to be single. You never get any magazine articles telling people how to leave a man.
You know what I mean? You believe in what you're reading?
No.
Do you have to believe what you're reading?
The magazine market is entirely market-led, sir.
A single person, right, living on their own will get that magazine and think, well, I can't be happy if this is true.
That's part of it.
Huh?
That's part of it.
Part of what?
It's part of a self-replicating syndrome. That is to say, single people believe that perhaps they ought to be in a relationship. Magazine editors know that, so they write articles that they will want to read. And you're right, the whole thing just refuels itself over and over again. It's a perennial.
The single people in this world have got a part to play.
But singleness is not caused by magazine articles.
Sorry?
Being single is not caused by magazine articles.
That's right, yeah, it's not caused by that.
No, marriage can be.
They have got a role to play in this world.
What?
Single people.
What's that?
What's their role?
Yes.
They're an example to other people. We're all examples to other people. Yeah, otherwise, we wouldn't... The actual role that we're talking about here is because of single people.
No, hang on a second.
It's not the only thing they do.
Hang on a second, my old love. This is a bit shallow. Everybody is an example, yes, but you see, the point is some people are good examples and some aren't.
Well, don't you think you need a bad example to see the good example?
Oh, I see. So we need single people and all their dysfunctionality in order to let the rest of us see how well off we are.
Do you
That's
think
a good point.
Think they're dysfunctional?
Sorry?
Do you think they think they're dysfunctional?
Well, they are.
Do you think they think...
Well, if they're sensible, they are. Like some singles people will be so dysfunctional they won't even realise that they're dysfunctional.
Well, how do you know that you're not if you don't realise it?
That's a reasonably good question. How do you know that you're not? How do you know that we're all not mad?
I think we're all the same.
Well, we're not all the same.
Why aren't we?
What do you mean, why aren't we?
We were all created equal, so why aren't we all the same now?
We weren't all created equal, were we? Some people were born weighing 7 pound 10 ounces, and other people, come on. Honestly. You get all your stuff off the back of a matchbox, don't you? Some people were created equal.
Sorry?
Every cloud has a silver lining. Go on, go and look after the wee one.
Are you still with me?
Go and look after the little one.
Yeah, I will.
That's your job.
Okay, then.
You've done us proud, the human race, Paul. Thank you for that. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Adam's in Hampshire. You're on Talk Radio, Adam. Hello.
Hello there. I just find out to agree with what you're saying. I'm married. I've got 2 children. My wife stayed at home and looked after the children while I went to work. Now they're both at school, so she's got a bit of free time for the first time in 6 years. And I agree with what you're saying about single people. I mean, if they stay single for the whole of their lives, they're never actually putting anything back in, are they?
Nothing at all.
It's take.
Totally.
Somebody said to me something about in France that they actually encouraged families to have children.
Yes.
And they give them tax incentives towards buying new cars and things like this.
It happens in a lot of countries. We're behind.
But we should be rewarding them. I mean, I find that family life, everybody plugs on about how important family life is, but no one's rewarding us for being families.
Nope. That's right. Do you know the average cost of raising a child?
I'd hate to think.
It's a little under £300,000.
Yeah, my little boy eats most of that on a Saturday and Sunday, I think.
Well, if you actually calculate all the costs involved, and that includes, for example, loss of income for one of the partners, because somebody has to stay at home and look after them.
Yes.
Yeah, and also loss of rental on the spare room, because you could rent that room out, couldn't you? If you
Right, yeah.
You know. So if you calculate everything, you see, single people are about £600,000 better off in the course of their lifetime because they've decided not to have children.
Yes.
And how much of that goes back into society? Nothing.
I think the thing is, well, when I was single and I had all my money for myself, I was selfish. But when I became married and I had children, I became less self-centered, and my horizon widened towards being generous to other people because I was generous to my children.
Exactly.
And I think it does change you, and it does make you grow up.
You're a broader, richer, wiser man for having children,
Yes, and I think
for not being single.
I think you definitely do grow up when you have children, because you've got to take on the responsibility.
Keep up the good work, Adam. Thank you for your call. Kathleen calls from West Yorkshire. You're on Talk Radio. Hello, Kathleen.
Hello?
Hello?
Are you there?
I am.
Just to let you know, I'm single. Well, I was widowed at 37.
Oh, mate. That's
I'm
awful.
45 now. But I brought two lads in and they've grown up to be great young men.
Well done.
But I agree with you. It is such a lonely existence. I don't know how they want to choose to be single.
No.
Single is beyond me. I mean, I do a bit of voluntary work, and last Friday, just honest to truth, I was once a well on Friday. My son came at 9 o'clock, and I never saw a soul like Saturday afternoon.
Oh.
You know, you can't talk to dogs and cats.
Not in the same way.
I love a man, or even a woman, just to put the arms around me and say, you know, you're going to be fine. And the contact, social contact you miss when you're single is unbelievable.
We're hanging on your every word. I'll tell you why, Kathleen, because you have seen both sides of this coin. Yeah. Nobody is in a better position than you to judge utterly which is best. And we've heard what you've said.
Company's better.
And good luck. And
husband.
Stay out in the swim of things, Kathleen. You never know. Mr. Right, Mark II.
I'm a bit fat and I'm a bit ugly. So I doubt that the Mr. Right for me.
How ugly are you?
Very ugly.
Very ugly? How ugly is very ugly?
I don't think a man would look at me now, to be honest. I mean, I do a bit of voluntary work, but no, I can't. I don't think there's a Mr. Right for me.
Well,
I once applied about 3 years ago to one of these Lonely Hearts ads.
Yes.
And I was so nervous, so I like being 15 again.
I'm sure.
But then you compare, and so it don't go you.
The thing is, I think, you know, once we get into our sort of middle years, you know, sort of about 35 onwards, it's harder work, isn't it, starting up a new relationship?
Yeah.
Because we have that much more energy when we're teenagers.
Well,
you probably met your husband when you were a teenager.
Yeah,
yes.
I did. I was married at 18.
There.
Yeah, and, well, to be quite honest, Tommy, you don't know what to do because there seems to be like free and easy this day and age.
It's embarrassing,
I mean, I
isn't
was married before, you know, sex came into it.
Yes.
But now it seems as though first date and wham bam. Well, that's not for me.
No. No.
That's
Listen,
not for me.
You stay in the swim of things.
I will.
Friday nights in the pub is a good time, a good place.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
They're all full of kids. Aren't they? They're all full of teeny boppers.
Catherine, I'm very grateful for your call and your wisdom, and I've loved talking to you.
Thank you very much, Tommy.
Send me a photograph.
I will do.
All right, I look forward to getting that. Bye-bye. Free call 0500 1053 89. There you have it, from someone who knows. Richard calls from Birmingham. You're on Talk Radio. Richard, good afternoon.
Afternoon, Tommy the Sage.
Richard.
Can you tell me why I'm inadequate because I'm single?
You're single?
Yeah.
At what age?
32.
You're 32 and you're single?
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much. Is there anything else you'd like? Shall I write you a cheque now?
No, I don't want a cheque. Tell me why I'm inadequate.
Well, because you haven't been able to hold down a relationship.
Who hasn't been able to hold down a relationship?
You.
I have.
Well, you're not single then, so make up your mind.
No, I am single. I'm on my own now.
Ah, exactly. It went wrong.
As a single man now, I'm paying more tax than you are, so I'm helping the government out more than you are.
No, you're not.
Why ain't I?
No, you're not. You don't know how much tax I'm paying, that's why.
No, but pound for pound, I'm doing more taxes because being a married person, you're on a lower tax. You'd have lower tax than I do.
Yeah, I'm not interested in things like in real terms. I am paying more tax than you are. Do you want the argument? Because you're going to lose it. I am paying more tax than you. Okay?
All right, then.
Yeah.
Secondly, no, you haven't won because in relative terms, you don't really, in relative terms.
I do. I bet you.
All right, fair enough. I'll give you that then. Being single, I don't have to put knickers and tights on the radiator.
Pardon?
With being single, I don't have to put with knickers and tights on the radiator.
Yeah, well, so what? It's nothing to do with the wider scheme of things. It's going to show how selfish you are.
It's an advantage of being single.
Just goes to show how selfish you are. Listen, mate, if I leave my... shall I tell you what happens in my house that's magic? Cups that are put in the sink with about a quarter of an inch of coffee in them are washed up.
Washed up? What? You mean you don't have to do it?
Yeah. Underpants,
That's
which are...
a dishwasher, Tommy.
Underpants left on bedroom floors are placed in the laundry basket. Don't ask me how.
You can get a maid in for that, Tommy.
I don't need a maid. I get on with people.
Got a wife.
I don't have to pay. I don't have to pay people to come into my house. Right? They come because they love me. See? So when you're an old crumbly man,
I won't be an old crumbly man. Go on.
My sons will be paying for you.
Well, my son will be paying for me as well when I'm an old man.
Oh, you've got children?
Yeah.
And you're separated?
Yeah.
Cool, you and I couldn't half have a fight round the back of the pub, couldn't we, eh, Richard? Hey! Oh, dear me. Now, look, come on. There must be somebody you get on with. Out there, somewhere.
Get on with, yeah.
Move.
Yeah.
Go and live somewhere else. I don't know. Go and live in the country.
Oh.
People are gentler in the country.
You reckon?
I know it.
All right, mate.
Good luck.
Take care.
There's somebody out there for you, Richard.
I know that.
You're not hopeless.
I'm not hopeless, no.
You're not useless.
Try, mate.
Free call 0500 10 53 89. Tony calls from Newcastle. You're on Talk Radio. Tony, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Thank you.
One of my little pet hates is when you hear people go on about people having family allowance and all the help they can. And what they don't realise is that my children, when they grow up and they go to work and they'll earn all these taxes, and say one of them becomes a doctor. And then all of a sudden, who's he treating but the person who said, I'm not prepared to help him when he was young. That's a real, what do you call it? It's a real bad situation.
Yes, that'll do.
You know, it's, but I've nothing against people wanting to be single, but they shouldn't knock people or... Families should be encouraged.
People should be in a relationship.
Yeah,
preferably heterosexual because that incurs less social problems.
Yeah, it's healthier.
But if you're homosexual, fine. But you need to be in a relationship.
Yeah, I mean, people need people.
Exactly.
And it stops you getting depressed.
It does. It does. It gives you a purpose in life, looking after somebody and being looked after.
I think one of the things that why there's such a lot of single or one-parent families at the moment is that a lot of the lads, when they've been used to having money in the pocket on a Friday night, then all of a sudden they haven't got any money. I think that's what one of the biggest problems is. They've not been taught that when you earn money, it's not really yours. It's something that you should share. And I think if they were taught that at a younger age, they'd be a lot better off.
Did you know that last year the cost of single parents outstripped the cost of benefit for the first time in British history?
It doesn't surprise me.
It wasn't widely reported.
No, it doesn't surprise me.
Because there would have been so much upset from the single community that the rest of us were on their case. So it was quietly swept under the carpet.
Yeah, well, that's the same with a lot of things, isn't it? You know, it's a minority shouting up and want what we want, and they get it. And who has to pay the bill? But the average family somewhere along the line.
But do you feel sorry for single people, or do you feel cross about them?
I don't feel sorry and I don't feel cross. I just get on with my own life.
Fair enough.
I've got too much going on to be bothered about.
Too many responsibilities.
I have, yeah.
Too many people to care for.
Exactly.
You're a champion, Tony.
All the best, Tommy.
Keep up the good work. Free call 0500 10 53 89. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
To Tommy Boyd. Free call 0500 1053 89.
We're building 5 million homes for single people. But they shouldn't be allowed to get away with it. Singles. Are they sad? Or are they unwell? The free call 0500 10 53 89. Jane calls from Hampshire. You're on Talk Radio. Jane, good afternoon.
Hello, Tommy.
Jane?
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Now,
And
what's
you?
this problem with single people?
Well, I've explained.
Well, what age are they, and are they divorced or single from birth?
Well, we're all single from birth. That
Right.
happens
So,
a lot.
You know, what's the problem with having a single
Then you
life?
get married. Sorry?
Does everybody have to be married?
Not from birth, no. Don't be silly. Yes, everybody...
I can't understand this, because lots of people have marriages, divorces...
I know,
all
that's the
rest
problem,
of it.
isn't it? That's the problem.
Sorry?
That's the problem.
What problem?
People having marriages and then getting divorced.
Yes, and you might want to live on your own.
Well, they should have worked that out in advance then, and there
Well,
wouldn't have been so
sorry,
many
you
tears
know-
at bedtime.
No, it's not. I mean, you never know. It might happen to you. You just don't know. It can happen to you.
It won't happen to me.
I'm sorry to say this, but you can't be like that, because it can suddenly come out the blue.
I'm sorry, some people, right, can make it work, can make things work.
Right, well, I'm very
Yes,
sorry, but
yes.
it's a two-sided thing, a marriage.
Yes.
And if one partner will not work at it, the other partner can't do it alone.
Right, so they've both failed in their marriage.
Well, yes, they have.
Okay, well,
And
then...
after that, one of them, or both of them, is entitled to have a house.
Right, so one way or another, singles people are failures.
Well, yes, but there are lots of failures in life. You can't say because you failed in marriage, you failed everything.
But this is the most important thing in life.
What is?
People, your partner. Having
yes,
children.
They
family.
are the most important thing in your
Right,
life.
so if you're single, you have failed at the most important thing in your
but
life.
after that, are you not entitled to have a life of your own?
No, not if you've failed miserably at the most important
Sorry,
thing
but
in
there
life.
are lots of failures in life.
Yes,
because
and
you
usually
fail-
failure gets penalised. But how are singles people being penalised if we're going to go out of our way to build them 5 million
Now
homes?
listen, I don't care. You know, you talk a load of bullshit, and I'm sorry to say this. I listened yesterday to this thing about bullfighting, and you might cut me off, but I'm very sorry to say this, and I listen to you all the time. You're a very educated man, and I agree a lot with what you say, but this particular thing, I don't agree with you. Lots of people have not got the same kind of views of you.
To ban all callers from what is it with Hampshire at the moment?
I'm sorry I don't know, Simon. I'm sorry to say
There,
I don't know
you
Simon.
see, but you know who I'm talking about
I
here.
have a son called Simon who's nearly 20, but he's not this Simon.
Well, we've been having a lot of nonsense on the phones from people in Hampshire, and
Well, I'm sorry to say that. Now,
until you
listen
can
to-
behave
now,
yourself.
Tommy, listen.
But at least you've got a son.
Yeah, I've got a daughter, and I've been married twice. And I'm still happily married for 20 years. But I have friends who are not married. And
What do people want to get married twice for?
Well, the first marriage failed after 7 years.
I think it should be, one strike and you're out.
No, I'm sorry. Yes, and after that, I've met my husband in the last 15 years, and
Yeah,
we're
fine.
very good friends.
You know what the courts do to repeat offenders, don't you?
Yes.
They increase the sentence.
Well, I don't care about that. Everything that happens in life is a learning period, right? Everything that happens to you is learning. Right? It's not wasted, it's learning.
Right, okay, so you
Right?
get married, it doesn't work.
No.
So what did you learn?
After 6 years, it doesn't work. You learn to be happy with your lot. You learn to be more complacent with life.
And
You learn to be helpful to people.
So you learn to get married again?
I married my husband 20 years ago because I'd already met him a few years before that, and we clicked 20 years ago. And then we've got our children. My son's nearly 20 and my daughter's 16.
All right. Well, I hope you
And-
don't use language like that in front of them. That's all I will say, Jane, and I'm
What
grateful
sort,
for your
what sort of
call.
language is that?
You talked about bull.
Bull?
Yeah.
What bullshit?
Oh, she said it again, and I'm afraid she had to be evaporated. Sorry about that. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Somehow, isn't it? It's the refined ones. Well, let's talk to David in Kent. You're on Talk Radio. David, good afternoon.
Yeah, sorry, Tommy.
Yes.
Yeah, without us, the single people, you wouldn't know you're alive, would you? You wouldn't be so happy, would you, and smug? Also, you talk about the animal kingdom.
David.
Yes.
David, I don't need you.
You don't need
smug.
me. Well,
No.
I don't need you then. So
I
I'm
can
single.
get smug.
Yeah, but it's
without...
not that. You talk about the animal kingdom. Do you know what some animals do after they mate with their partners? They kill them and eat them.
Free call 0500 1053 89. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
The conversation of the nation. Free call 0500 1053 89.
Simon calls from Middlesex. You're on Talk Radio. Hello, Simon.
Hello, Tom.
Simon.
All right. I'm 38, single, been single all my life. Never had a relationship at all. And by every standard that you could possibly gauge, I am successful. In every single way, I'm a successful human being.
I expect you're good at jigsaws, aren't you?
Every single thing, I am successful.
What's your favourite pot noodle flavour?
I'm successful in terms of my physical self is highly successful. I have a finely tuned body. I'm a highly fit person because I've got all the time.
You're my brother!
I have all the time.
You're my brother! Get off!
All the time.
You're my brother!
I have all the time to see the advantage of being single is you've got the time to engage.
Don't ever put my family on. Oh, this is
important.
ridiculous. I thought.
When you're in a relationship,
go away.
Time is wasted.
Go away.
It's very much wasted.
You've never
on
won an
things that
argument
are
with me in
unnecessary.
35 years, and it's not going to happen this afternoon.
Being single gives you all the time to do the important things to grow yourself and to be a highly successful human being. You will not find any successful people in relationships. It is impossible.
You're the only person I know who knows all the Star Trek episodes verbatim.
Can you tell me anyone in a relationship who is successful?
And your favourite one is the one when Jim is beamed down to the planet's surface
Now
with
you're
that
starting
giant
to hear
lizard.
why my brother has a problem with his argument because he's not answering my question.
I'm not
Tell me
listening to
one
your question.
person-
I've never listened to you. Brothers
Tell me
aren't for
one person
listening to, they're for
successful
fighting.
In a relationship.
What?
Tell me one person who has been successful in a relationship.
Well, I started the programme by saying Bill Gates, Bill Clinton.
No, not successful people. Tell me what you mean by successful. Just because they're rich doesn't make them successful.
It's a good start, isn't it?
Bill Gates is certainly not a finely tuned athlete with a well-honed body, is he?
Oh, and you are.
Absolutely.
What are you up to these days?
Superb state of
14,
physical
15
self,
stone?
Fine mental health.
What are you weighing these
superb
days?
Emotional health. This is what you're missing. That relationships waste your time from when you could be developing yourself. We are the warriors. We are the strong.
You're the warriors?
We are the warriors. The strong men of the world unite.
I'm sorry about that. Love to mother, Simon. So that's it. No more men called Simon and no more people from Hampshire. Oh, God. Another Simon calls from Yorkshire. Simon, you're on Talk Radio. Good afternoon.
What's wrong with being called Simon, then?
Well, you're about to demonstrate. I wouldn't be surprised, mate.
Right, what I want to know is, should society be more receptive to bisexuality to create more couples? You know, because, like, if you go to a party, and you don't, if you're heterosexual, and you don't pull a woman, then pull a man, and if you get on, then have a relationship, or if you don't pull a woman, have a relationship, or whatever. I think it's the answer, personally. That's only because I'm single and I want to go out as the one.
Are you bisexual?
I'll flip between the two, depending on who I fancy, so...
Right. Did you try homosexuality because you weren't having any luck as a heterosexual? Can you do that?
It's, well, I was in my, early teen years, like 11 or 12, I was kind of, confused. But then I thought, for the past several years I've been gay. But before that I've slept with women, and now I'm single, so... But, after that I've been out with a couple of blokes, and now I'm single and just on the lookout for anyone, really.
Fueled with the resources and the information on which we've based this hour of debate, Simon, I would be tempted to say that whatever sort of a relationship that you are in has to be better than not being in a relationship at all.
Oh, I totally agree, which is why I agree with you.
Voila. Thank you for your call.
That's okay.
Talk to you again sometime. Bye-bye. Graham's in Birmingham. Graham, you are on Talk Radio. Good afternoon.
Hello, Tom.
Graham.
I think you're being rather unfair to single people. Many of the world's greatest creative talents have been single, especially in literature, art.
No.
Van Gogh.
No. He wasn't
think
alive
so?
long enough to be single.
Pardon?
He wasn't alive long enough to be single.
Yes, but I mean, what about people like Stevie Smith, who they still sort of stuck around until their 70s?
Well, they're not as good as Shakespeare, and him and Anne Hathaway were an item.
True.
Yeah. True. Very true. And Picasso?
Yes.
More relationships?
Yes, but then again, he was almost sort of single by default.
Had ears.
Wasn't he? He was almost a serial adulterer.
Quite, but he was in relationships.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't single.
Full point?
Thank you. Anything else?
Not really, no.
No, okay. Well, the TCP's in the bathroom cabinet. Go and lick your wounds. Janet calls from Essex. You're on Talk Radio. Hello, Janet.
Hello, Thomas.
Janet.
Hello. Rescue one. I rescued one, a single person, a single man.
Well done.
Yes, it was a good job. I tempted him with minestrone soup and homemade lasagna, and now I've got him. He had savings. He was relaxed. He was quite happy being single, and he's now with me.
My recipe for a successful relationship, you know, is to change people.
Yes, exactly.
You must try and change them as soon as you've got your claws into them, mustn't you? You must.
He's now living with me and my 2 teenage children from a totally free and single life, 40 years almost. He looks 10 years older.
Marvellous.
Yes, it is. I think I've done a very good job, but he's now a complete, whole man.
Well, you know, you've made a very good point, which is that everybody who's in a relationship has effectively rescued somebody from the hell of being single.
That's true, yeah.
Thank you for that. That's a very profound point. I hadn't thought of that.
Thank you, Thomas.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you, and
Bye
you.
now. Shirley's in, Hampshire. You're on Talk Radio, Shirley. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tommy.
Hello.
Sorry about the Hampshire bit. I just wanted to agree with you, but I just wondered if you realise that in today's society, as a couple or a group, you are not considered a family for housing purposes unless you are a single parent with a child of school age. A married couple with grown-up children or what have you, you are not considered a family.
No. Is that right?
That is gospel truth.
Have you've been through this nightmare, have you?
I'm still going through it at the moment.
Oh, I see.
The problem is they're not building 2-bedroom flats.
No.
They're building 2-bedroom houses and single bedroom.
This is definitely not Bob putting a funny voice on. Click like and subscribe to the Tommy Boyd Shrine YouTube channel, and we may get more Bob Staunton. Now, if you'll excuse me, I am going to stick laxatives in Tommy Boyd's coffee. If he won't call it quits, I'll make him strain with the squits.